Okay, so um, I hope that you found the tools that we've talked about and the practicing that we've done today helpful. I want to put this in a bit of context here and talk about how it fits into the big picture in conversational frameworks. So, we've been talking about open-ended conversation, generative dialogue, as we believe it's the most underutilized form of dialogue in leadership. However, this of course exists within a continuum. It's not always going to be possible with every parent, student, or teacher to use this type of dialogue. So, keeping in mind the tools you've learned this morning, I would like you to read the article posted on the website. And I'd like you to reflect on the different types of conversations that they discuss with the examples, all the way from closed to open. And I'd like you to work with your group to think of one situation in which this type of conversational framework could be used. To give you some examples of when you would go to different types of dialogue depending on the conversation. So you can pause the video now. It will only take you about 15 minutes to read that article and then get into your groups to come up with those examples. All right, I hope you found that article helpful. I hope you were all able to come up with some great examples. I'd like you to take some time now to discuss, are there any new frameworks from the article that you were just introduced to that you haven't thought of before? Which ones do you find are the most useful, and talk about some of those situations that you came up with. All right. So I want to thank everyone today for all the participation in the discussions that you've had. Those are going to be key to going back to your schools and really being able to take these tools and put them into practice. And in conclusion, I just did a bit of a visual representation of what we talked about today. So at the bottom, we have a foundation of positive culture. So that all those things we talked about: trust and respect, voice, active listening, all these things that are so important in order to have the culture we need to be having these conversations. In having these generative dialogue conversations, likely in the context of some inquiry-based growth plans, we're going to see teacher growth, which leads to student success. And of course, within those conversations about those growth plans, we're going to use those questioning and those feedback skills that we have practiced today. So for next steps, I would encourage you to listen to Dr. David Townsend's podcast. He does a great job of explaining some of the stuff we talked about today with examples of real world situations that he's experienced. It's on Spotify, and it's a good quick listen, so that's something that you could definitely do, even to just listen to that in a week and reflect on some of the things we've thought here. And the second thing that I would do is, if you do work in Edmonton Public, go on to their inquiry-based professional growth plan information. Watch the videos, there's documents about it, and even PD sessions, because this is where you're really going to be able to introduce this to your teachers and use that context to use all these skills that we've talked about today. So those are my references there, which you all have listed on the PowerPoint that is on the website, and I hope that you have found this a useful module to complete.